The Bible's core message, made clear. Welcome to the Bible Point. We who believe in Jesus, for whom are we truly living now? Is it still for ourselves, or for Christ, who died on the cross for us? Paul, remembering that both he and the saints of the Corinthian church will stand before God on the last day, exhorts the Corinthians with a heart that fears God. For Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. And he died for all, that those who live should no longer live for themselves but for him who died for them and was raised again. Paul confesses that the reason he became devoted to the Lord was because the love of Christ compelled him. Here, compelled means to hold one fast, leaving no other option. In other words, Christ died on the cross so that those who truly understand that love would no longer live for themselves, but would live solely for the Lord. Paul then says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." Here, the old self refers to the former self that lived in a self-centered way, while the new self signifies the self that now lives for the Lord. That is, those who experience and believe in Jesus' love on the cross come under Christ's reign and are transformed into a life lived solely for the Lord. Yet in reality, many claim to believe in Jesus while the purpose, plans, and direction of their lives remain centered on themselves. Paul states this clearly: a born-again Christian, one who lives under Christ's rule, must have the purpose and direction of life fixed solely on the Lord. Therefore, if desires to do, possess, or become something for ourselves still dominate our lives, we must examine whether we have truly been reborn through the love of the cross. Then, what does the life of a new creation, living solely for the Lord, look like? Paul states that God sent Jesus to this earth to reconcile people to himself. And to those who have become a new creation by receiving Jesus and being reconciled to God, he has entrusted one calling, the priestly ministry of reconciling unbelievers to God, just as Jesus did. The Bible calls the role of leading people to God and bridging the gap between God and humanity a priesthood. Israel in the Old Testament failed to fully carry out the mission of being a priestly nation entrusted to them by God. But now, that priestly calling has been passed on to the people of the New Testament. We are all called to be a royal priesthood. Therefore, every born-again Christian, following the priestly ministry of reconciliation, lives a life that connects unbelievers to God by using the gifts, temperament, and talents God has given to each person. In all ministry, the grace of salvation through the cross comes first, and ministry follows. Without grace, everything is done out of compulsion and a sense of duty. But when grace is received, a person is born again, and the born-again person naturally carries out God's work. May the grace of Jesus Christ's love on the cross compel us all to live as new beings, living solely for God, faithfully fulfilling the priestly role of bridging God and humanity as new creations.